St. Paul tells us that we've received a new life in baptism. But for many of us who are baptized as infants, perhaps we take this new life for granted. Well, I think a key to understanding this comes from Eucharistic Prayer 4, where we hear those words, and so that we might live no longer for ourselves, but for him who died and rose again for us, he sent the Holy Spirit from you, Father. Do we live our life no longer for ourselves, but for him who died and rose again for us? An aspect of this new life is given to us in the readings, and it particularly focuses on hospitality or generosity. We all know those experiences where someone truly goes the extra mile to make us feel welcome, to make sure that we're served well. That helps us feel loved and cherished. Well, perhaps this week we can think, how am I living my life? Do I look for those opportunities to serve, for the greater love, as Jesus says? In the gospel, we hear that even giving someone a cup of water will not be forgotten. So the way we treat others truly matters. And by practicing this virtue of generosity every day, it means that we grow in the capacity to give ourselves for others and ultimately to live our life, no longer for ourselves, but for him who died and rose again for us. And that this relationship is the strongest is also emphasized in the gospel. It can seem a little bit harsh where Jesus says that we must love him before all else. So it's not to diminish from the importance of family relationships. Indeed, I remember when I was a young child, I asked my own father, who do you love most? Convinced that he would say me. But I was very impressed with his answer. He said, well, first of all, I love God the most. And then your mum, and then the three boys, my two brothers and myself equally. This made a deep impression upon me because I did feel so loved by my dad. And yet he was saying, well, God must come first. So when we put God first in our life, when we ask for the inspirations of the Holy Spirit, we're able to make sure that we love others, not just for what we get back, but in the way that Christ does. And we do it with his strength, with the Holy Spirit that he has sent.